Alright, so this is Decent We the People News. Alright, this video is without prejudice and without recourse. I'm stated on UCC 1-308, all rights reserved, y'all. Okay, so I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice. If I say anything or do anything, it's just my opinion. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. I'm not licensed. Neither are they, but don't stop them. Alright, I try to do it the right way. Okay, I never look straight for it. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. This is a part 2 video, and I'm trying to make this short and sweet, as quick as possible.
Than to try and fill the shoes of what society thinks I should be, all right? That just doesn't fucking work for me. And quite frankly, for many of the people that I grew up around and the villages that I grew up in, most of those people are pretty free-thinking people. They're independent, and that's another thing. Freedom comes at a heavy fucking price. It's costly. It's about accountability, responsibility, liability, and most of all, independence. So many of the farmers that I grew up around, many of the people that took me under their wing at a very young age because I wasn't going to go to school, and they allowed me to be gainfully employed through them on their family farms. We didn't call people to come fix the tire. We fixed the tire ourselves. We didn't call people out to come out and change bearings and stuff like that. We had to do it ourselves, okay? And it takes a lot of tenacity to do that. That's called independence. You know, my grandfather, one of the things I can remember him saying is, we don't have the money to call somebody out here to fix this. We're going to do it ourselves. We'll go to town, we'll go get a part, and then we'll put it back together. And I was like, wow, you know how to do that, huh? And it's just two of us, and that tire looks like it weighs almost 1,000 pounds. Like, how are we going to take that tire off and get to what we need to get to without getting squished or hurt or anything else? Well, you know what? A little bit of luck, some ingenuity, and a whole lot of experience from an older gentleman is what got us through that. And it just goes to prove my case in point. Freedom is about independence, first and foremost, then accountability, liability, responsibility. And as long as you're willing to accept all of that, there is no man on this earth that can tell you what the fuck to do, period. Just be a man of your word, honor your fucking agreements, and do your best not to cause harm, damage, injury, or loss. And should something arise where out of negligence or ignorance you do cause harm, damage, injury, or loss, make sure to offer remedy immediately. Do not drag your feet. Do not fuck around and wait so these cretins can get their meat hooks into you and drag you into a court. Because here's one of the ways, and I'm going to give you a remedy right now. I've been giving them all fucking day long. I'm going to give you another remedy. If somebody makes a claim against me and says I've caused them harm, damage, injury, or loss, I am immediately going to reach out to them and try to provide remedy as soon as I possibly can. Why? Because then if the prosecuting attorney on behalf of the county, who works on behalf of the state, who all gets paid from the same treasurer, decides to take interest in me, they have no jurisdiction or standing. For I have already offered remedy. 3 times I've been denied to provide remedy, which means that the real party in interest claiming harm, damage, injury, or loss says there is no harm, there is no damage. Remember, I keep relaying that story to you that a kid comes over, mows your yard, says, tell you what, Derek, first one's on me, buddy. It was $60, but I'm going to go ahead and just tell you we're even. Thank you so much. And, I tell the young man, hey, thanks. I appreciate you mowing my yard and doing a great job. And you sure I can't pay it? No, this one's on me. A couple days later, he finds out he's got a hot date with Cindy Lou. Comes back knocking on my door. Hey, Derek, you owe me $60. Do I owe him $60, ladies and gentlemen? Did that man not tell me that I don't owe him anything? This one's on me? Well, something came up, Derek, and I got a hot date with Cindy Lou, and I need that $60, man. You owe me. Do I owe him? The answer to that is no, ladies and gentlemen. Am I going to give it to him? You bet. Because I want the young man to go have fun with Cindy fucking Lou. I'm going to teach him a lesson before I give him that $60 too. I'll make him think about the words that come out of his mouth and his actions, because we're men of our words, right? To the best of our ability. And contract creates the law. Equity follows the law, all right?
And I'm a real believer in that's what we're like of, teaching our offsprings these things, right? I've always worked. So I really didn't have much of opportunity to teach my offspring as much as I should have, that's on me. Since I'm raising my grandbaby, I am going through the process a little bit different and wiser, okay? But I'm also teaching my kids now that as adults, hey, don't do the same thing I did. Grow from my past experience and my wrongdoings, and create remedies and understand some of the things that may or may not be done in the future, present, and give remedy of the past.
Contracts can be created orally. They can be physical actions that create a contract, or it can be written in written form and signed and agreed to. Now, let's keep going on here. If you know your rights and you timely assert those rights, you have those rights. But if you sit on your haunches and you cry foul, you lose those rights. Look, being free isn't about crying, sniveling about the fucking sand in your vagina. So get that idea out of your fucking head. Nobody gives a fuck that you've been fucked over, alright? Stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's yours. And give them fucking hell. Don't bitch about it. Assert yourself and show them that you have a fucking right. And that by them trespassing on you, causing you a harm, they're liable for it. And show them how, alright? Argument 98, dealing with the effect of an emergency. While an emergency cannot create power and no emergency justifies the violation of any of the provisions of the United States Constitution or state constitutions, and again, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the state constitutions is where all your power comes from, all right? That's the line drawn in the sand by we the people of the state, all right? Part of the Union of States, which you don't ever really hear about that being talked about, but that's where the constitutions derive from. So the state constitutions and the state courts are more powerful than the federal courts, ladies and gentlemen, and that's where you're going to find your remedy is in the state court. Now you got to get these sinister actors to understand that you're not going into the admiralty venue. You are going into the law venue, the common law venue, where there's the exclusive jurisdiction of equity, Article 3, subsection 2, subpart 1, venues. All right, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to enforce your rights. Okay, public emergencies such as economic depression, they cannot be in conflict with the Constitution. Okay, now there are places where the statutes support common law. Remember, statutes and codes and city ordinances and rules and regulations, I don't always agree with them. In fact, 99.9% of the time, they don't fucking apply to me and they can fuck off. But, however, there are times when they're in harmony. So let me talk about an instance where I don't agree with them. For example, everybody says, Derek, the statutes are the law. We should abide by the law, and the statutes are cemented in time. Well, if that be true, let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, slavery was once legal. It was once a statute, okay? So if you're going to tell me that statutes are moral, lawful, and they follow the spirit of the law and the letter of the law, which is actually what it takes to make law, ladies and gentlemen, then you should be keen on what you're intaking. All right, so I'm going to show you this. Murder is illegal, and it's also unlawful. Murder is a statute violation, but above all else, it's a trespass on the lawful side of things, okay, making it unlawful, which grants rise to a claim. So that's the time when I agree with legal and lawful. Now, there are some statutes out there. For example, I think it's California 849 that talks about going to see the magistrate. And when you are denied to go see the magistrate, it's a false arrest, false imprisonment. No matter if they arrested you for just cause, they are still liable for false arrest and false imprisonment. Okay? Very important to understand that there are times when statutes are absolutely in harmony with the common law and what is right, just, and fair. So really pay attention to that. All right, and I don't want to confuse you with all that, but it needed to be said. The concept that an emergency could conflict the Constitution was rejected. In one case, the court holds that neither the legislator nor any executive or judicial officer may disregard the provisions of the Constitution in cases of emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know how powerful that is? Nobody can disregard the Constitution because it is the supreme law of the land, the supremacy clause, okay? There is nothing higher on this land next to God's word and the Constitution. All right, God's law supersedes all. It's nature's God and the law of God, and what goes up must come down. And no matter how much legislation you write, it will always be the same. Right? where the plain and unequivocal terms of the Constitution present two questions of construction and departures in emergencies. So even in emergencies, justifies the taking away of constitutional rights. As to the construction with reference to the common law, an important canon of law is this: constitutions must be construed with reference to the common law. Okay, you will find this in every state constitution. Okay, you will go down, you will grab your state constitution, and you will start to read through it, and you will find that the common law is absolutely upheld in all 50 states. It has never been abolished, ladies and gentlemen. The republic is very much alive. It's just a place where people choose not to exercise their rights because it's far easier to accept privileges and benefits and be told what to do and how to do it and receive some free benefits here and there and pretend you're free than it is to actually be free, gain this acquired knowledge, and stand up for what's right, just, and fair. All right, I get it. I understand. This fact has been taken into consideration by the courts in construing certain clauses in the state constitution, such as the provisions securing the right of a jury trial. Also, provisions in regard to crimes have been interpreted with reference to the common law rules that one charge with a crime may be convicted of a lesser offense necessarily included in the crime charged. In such cases, the court of the state always regard the language in the common law sense. The common law prevails. The common law also permitted construction of the abatement of nuisances by summary proceedings, traffic tickets. That's what a traffic ticket does. And a traffic ticket is actually a citation, all right? It's an ex post facto law. And if you understand the Constitution and you realize that no ex post facto laws can be created that would prejudice you or put you underneath of them, all right, it's a bill of attainder, all right? And none of that stuff is supposed to exist that pertains to us. It pertains to volunteers and government employees. It pertains to everybody engaged in commerce, cops, sheriffs, state patrol, governors, senators, agents and agency. It does not apply to the men and women of this great land and nation, okay? But they've dubiously duped us all into believing that somehow it applies, all right? It is a writ of assessment, a bill of attainder. It's unlawful in the United States, and it was never supposed to be a constitutional provision, constitutional provision. Was intended to interfere with this established principle, and although there is no common law of the United States in the sense Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, in interpreting the Constitution of the United States, resources still may be had to the aid of the common law of England. It has been said that without reference to this common law, the language of the federal Constitution could not be understood. This is due to the fact that this instrument in the plan of government of the United States were founded on the common law as established in England at the time of the Revolution. Therefore, it is the general rule that the phrase in the Bill of Rights taken from the common law must be construed in reference to the latter. Specifically, the United States Supreme Court has taken the common law into consideration in construing the Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment provisions relating. So, the common law is extremely important. Most of you out there are citizens at the common law. Am Jurisprudence 16, Section 114 through 117, various facts and circumstances extrinsic to the Constitution are often restored to by the courts to aid them in determining its meanings. As previously noted, however, such extrinsic aids may not be resorted to where the provision in the question is clear. Misspelling, and unambiguous. In such a case, where the conclusion in the question is clear and unambiguous, in such a case, the court must apply the term of the Constitution as written. They are not at liberty to search for meanings beyond the instrument. Remember, the Constitutions were all written in plain English, ladies and gentlemen. There's I mean, the verbiage is so cut, dry, and clear. A sixth grade child ought to be able to read it and understand and comprehend exactly what it means, all right? Am jurisprudence, and that's American jurisprudence 16, section 165. Since the Constitution is intended for the observance of the judiciary, as well as other parts of the government, and the judges are sworn to support its provisions, sworn as in oath of office, a guarantee for life, an oath for life, a promise for life, all right? Binding them, if you acknowledge and accept their oath, they're bound by it. Remember, even if they didn't take the right oath, the second they received a paycheck from the Treasury, the equity imputes an intention to fulfill an obligation, which means even if they didn't take the right oath, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Did you take an income? I sure did. Great. You're bound by the fucking original Constitution and that fucking oath, motherfucker. You want to call my bluff? You think I'm over here with fucking, a couple deuces and a five? I'm telling you right now, I got a full fucking house, and I will bitch smack you with this full house so fucking hard it'll make your head spin. All right? Not only are you liable, but your wife as an accessory after the fact, because she's unjustly enriching herself too off of your income while you're fucking the American people. Oh, you think I got games? You think I'm playing? I ain't fucking playing. I just told you how it is. And that's a fact, all right, ladies and gentlemen? That's a fact. Their wives can be charged as accessories after the fact because they're benefiting from the egregious activity that their significant other is involved in, period. And they're gaining from it. So, yes, in the Title 4D, where you've got these alleged judges, which aren't judges, they're ministerial law clerks that are working on behalf of the Title 4D agency while gaining profit from the American Disabilities Act, Title II and Title III, where they're gaining funds from that, block grants and grants from the federal government. Oh yeah, and their husbands can be hung up for it too as accessories after the fact. You bet your fucking sweet ass. All right, so pay attention and follow along because I'm going to show you how to do this shit. It ain't rocket scientist. And trust me, when you finally put pen to paper and let them know what the fuck you're planning on doing, if they don't fucking back down and shut up and sit the fuck back down where they belong, they will back off because their wives absolutely fucking hate being drug into a lawsuit. All right? They fucking hate it. And there's no way out for them because they married the prick. All right? And they're just as responsible for his actions as they are their own. They're married. They created joinder. They're in a joint business venture. It means if one partner fucks up, they're both 100% fucking liable. How you like them apples? Yeah. The courts are not.
Alrighty. This will be the People News. Next.